Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a really easy necklace and pair of earrings today using some of the beads and bindings that came in the most recent Bargain Bead box, the one for February 2024. It's called the Budding Romance Collection. I'll put a link in the corner of this video and in the description box below to the unboxing video I did for this subscription, where I go over everything that came in the box in case you want to watch it. I have a coupon code, it's Teresa2, and I'll put it on the screen here and in the description box below, along with the link to the page to sign up for the subscription if you're interested. The coupon will save you $2 off your first box if you sign up. In here I've got the 10mm Malaysia Jade dyed quartz faceted round beads. In here I've got the 6x4mm crystal faceted rondelle beads in lavender. And here I've got the 32mm Malaysia Jade dyed quartz teardrop pendant. And I've got one of the rondelles in there and a piece of 20 gauge German style wire in gold, because this is going to be my focal. I've got the bead caps that came in the box. I've got some findings in here. I've got a couple of pieces of the chain that came in the box. From my stash I've got a lobster clasp, some 5mm jump rings. They're 20 gauge. I'm using them instead of my 18 gauge jump rings that I usually use because I'm afraid those 18 gauge jump rings won't go through that little chain. So these are 20 gauge 5mm jump rings. And I have an 8mm jump ring in there. I've got a little piece of extender chain and one of the rondelles that I'm going to hang off of it as a dangle, and a ball head pin to do that with. And I have a lobster clasp, 2 wire guardians, and 2 2x2 crimp tubes. And then this is what's going to be for my earrings. I've already got one of my earrings made. And it's just one of the 10mm beads, one of the rondelles, a seed bead. I'm using my galvanized gold Miyuki 11 seed beads to space out the beads. So I've got a seed bead in there, and an ear wire, of course. And I'm going to be using my soft flex beading wire in fine. This is metallics, and it's the copper color. It's 21 strand. Of course, you can use whatever bead string wire you have. I don't have any gold. I have a lot of copper that I need to use up, and by the time I get all the beads on there, you won't be able to see the color of the wire anyway. I've got my bead stopper. I'm going to be using my chain nose pliers, my tweezer pliers, my round nose pliers, both pairs of my bent nose pliers, both pairs of my crimping pliers, both pairs of my cutters, and I have my little New Orleans shot glass to put my wires in when I cut them off. I think that's everything. I'll put links to everything I can find links for in the description box below that didn't come in the box. So hold on, I'll get some of this out of the way and I'll be back. Okay, first I'm going to make my focal here. I've got my pendant and one of my little rondelle beads. And I would hang the pendant directly off the necklace, but I wanted it to hang a little bit lower than it does if I hang it directly off the necklace. So that's why I'm going to put this little rondelle at the top of it. This is about a 4-inch piece of 20 gauge wire, which is way more than I need. I don't know why I cut off that much, but I'm going to go down probably about 1.5 inches or so. I'm going to bend over at a 90-degree angle. Take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Round nose pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the tool. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take the short piece of wire up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. No, I forgot. First I need to open it up. I'm going to open my loop. I'm going to thread on my pendant. Now I'm going to close my loop. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. I'm going to wrap the short piece of wire around the long piece of wire about 3 times. I'm going to take my cutters, and these are the cutters I use for craft wire and head pins and eye pins. I use a different pair of cutters for bead stringing wire. Cut off my extra piece of wire. Now I'm going to put my rondelle on here. I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to go to the very tip of the pliers, bend over at a 90-degree angle, take my round nose pliers and put them in the crook of the bend, round nose pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the bead, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead, and that usually stands my little piece of wire almost straight up there. Now I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold onto my loop, bring the wire down a little bit. I'm going to take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. I want to be careful to get that first wrap in under the bottom of the loop and not over the top of the bottom of the loop. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Now I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire, and I'm going to take these crimping pliers and I use the little half circles on each side there at the end to tuck in the burrs when I cut off the wire. And I always wait until I get both loops made before I do this, because if I have that bead to brace against, it helps me not mangle the wire and the loops and everything, which I seem to do if I don't have that bead to brace against. So that's going to be my focal. Now I'm going to go ahead and string this up so y'all don't have to wait and watch me string all these little beads and seed beads and stuff. And when I get back, I'll show you what my pattern is. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got my necklace strung up here now. And I'm going to show you what my pattern is. I've got one of the rondelles. I've got 11 O's between all the beads. And I've got bead caps around all the big beads. And I've got a rondelle, 3 10 millimeters, a rondelle, 3 10 millimeters, a rondelle, 3 10 millimeters. And here I've got two 11 O's, and I've strung my focal on, and I'm going to have it hang between those two 11 O's, suspended between those two 11 O's. And then on the other side I've got the same thing, 3 10 millimeters, a rondelle, 3 10 millimeters, a rondelle, 3 10 millimeters, and a rondelle. So that's what my pattern is. So now I'm going to crimp it. So I'm going to take my crimp tube, put it on there, and one of my wire guardians. I'm going to tuck in the little wire guardian a little bit, very gently, because they're easy to destroy. Now I'm going to go down the other channel of my wire guardian, back through my crimp tube. I'm going to hold my wires apart and make sure they're not crossed in there, because when I crimp I want each of my wires to be in its own little individual channel, and if they're crossed they won't do that. Now I'm going to take my crimping pliers, and I use these to crimp with, and I'm going to go in that part that has the tooth there. I'm going to lay the tooth on top of my crimp, and I'm going to squeeze, and that puts each wire in its own little channel. Now I'm going to go in the part up here. There's 3 half circles on each side. I'm going to go in this middle one because that's the one for the 2x2 crimp tubes. I'm going to lay my crimp in there, squeeze. Now I'm going to tug. That's good. So now I'm going to take my cutters that I use for bead stringing wire, and I'm going to cut off my extra wire. Now I'm going to push all this down, and I usually, when I know what my pattern's going to be, I leave it on the spool because I sort of feel like maybe I don't waste as much wire that way. So now I'm going to cut it off my spool. And I'm going to push it down here, and I'm going to take my other crimp tube, put it on here, and my other wire guardian. I'm going to tuck in the little wire guardian. I'm going to come down the other channel of the wire guardian. And back through my crimp tube. Hold on to the wire guardian. Now I like to try to go through a bead on this side to get my hands out of the way, and it helps center that wire guardian over that last bead. I'm going to try to go through this rondelle here. Okay, now I'm going to hold on to my wire guardian and pull my wire through. Keep my wires from being crossed. Okay, now I'm going to make sure there's no slack in my piece, but I don't want it to be too tight. If it's too tight, it won't drape well. So I usually coil it up like that before I crimp it, and it usually keeps it from being too tight. So now I'm going to hold on to all this, and this is the part where you need about 12 hands to do all this with. Now I'm going to take my crimping pliers and go on the part with the tooth again. Lay the tooth on top of my crimp and squeeze. Now I'm going to go on the part with the half circles again. Go in that middle part, squeeze. Now I'm going to tug. That's good. So now I'm going to cut off my extra wire. So that's what I've got so far. So now hold on, I get the rest of my findings to put on, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got a couple of the pieces of chain that came in the box. They're about 4-inch pieces each. And I'm going to take one of my 5mm jump rings. Open it up. And put it on my chain. Put one side of my necklace on. Close my jump ring back. Make sure you get it closed back really well. Take another 5mm jump ring. Open it up. Put my other piece of chain on here. And the other side of my necklace. Close my jump ring back really well. Sometimes you can hear it pop, and if you hear it pop, you know you've got it closed up really well. Now I'm going to take another 5mm jump ring. this end of my chain on. And I'm going to put my lobster clasp on. Close it up. I've got an 8mm jump ring, but I don't know if it'll go through this chain. If it's pretty thick, I might have to use another 5mm jump ring and then attach it. I'm not sure. And I don't think it's going to go on there, so I'm going to have to close this back up. Well, no, I'll just leave it open. I've got another 5mm jump ring here. I had it out just in case. If I can find where the slit is, it's just hard to find the slit in these. There it is, I think. Yeah. Now I'm going to put it on here. Close it back. Now I'm going to take my 5mm jump ring and put it on, my 8mm jump ring and put it on my 5mm jump ring. And now I'm going to take my little piece of extender chain. This is about a 2-inch piece of paper clip chain I had in my stash. I'm going to put it on this 8mm jump ring. Close it back up. Now I'm going to make this little dangle to go on my extender chain. I've got a ball head pin, one of my little rondelle beads. I'm going to take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers, bend over at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers and put them in the crook of the bend. Bend the wire back until it hits the bead. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the bead. Now I'm going to open my loop. Thread on my extender chain. Close my loop back. Take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down a little bit. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. I'm just going to wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. And take these crimping pliers and go in here and tuck in my little burr that's left where I cut off the wire. So this is my necklace all done. And now I'm going to make a really easy pair of earrings, so hold on. Okay, I've got one earring made here, so I'm going to make the other one. So I've got a head pin here. This is about a 3-inch head pin. I don't remember where I got it. I'm going to have to look it up and find out. I think I got them from Lima Beads. And I'm going to put on a bead cap, a 10mm bead. And a bead cap, 11-0, and a rondelle. I'm going to take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers, Bend over at a 90-degree angle. Around those pliers in the crook of the bend. Around those pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the beads. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. This part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Kink the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down a little bit. Get my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. Take my crimping pliers and tuck in the little burr that's left. I'm going to take my pliers and open up my ear wire and thread on my little earring. So I've got a really simple little earring to go with my other little simple little earring. So hold on, let me get everything laid out together so you can see it, and I'll be back. Okay, there's my very simple necklace and pair of earrings made with some of the beads and findings from the most recent Bargain Bead Box, the Budding Romance collection. This is just a really wonderful box. It's one that I very much recommend if you enjoy beading and making jewelry. It's a really great value. I'm always able to get many, many pieces of jewelry out of one box. And like I said, if you're not subscribed and you decide you want to be, that coupon code will save you $2 off your first box if you sign up. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. I also sell gift cards and some extra beads and findings that I have. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.